Hello, greetings from a beautifully sunny day in the south of France, and it's a rather special day for me because I've finally got my hands on my copies of my second poetry collection, A Handful of Prayers. And it's just wonderful to be able to hold a copy and see these poems physically, and also really a privilege to be able to see the cover. I mean, I'm so thankful to my wonderful wife Silje for the covers that she's given both my books. I mean, look at the beautiful artwork she's covered my books in. My first collection, An Array of Vapour, and this collection, A Handful of Prayers. Such different works of art she's put on them, and I'm just so thankful for that. The collection was largely written during the COVID lockdowns, and the bulk of the collection is this series called Poems and Sonnets for the End of Modernity. I see the collection as a celebration of the imagination in response to an era that has been defined by logic and cold reason, often juxtaposed in opposition to the imagination. And for me, this is a celebration of the importance of the imagination for our own personal emotional well-being, for our own philosophical discoveries, but also in the areas of science and mathematics as well, where the imagination must be engaged for us to make new discoveries. And the back of the book puts it like this: these are poems of change, challenge, and unity that seek to explore and imagine hope, life, and honest community in a world of isolation. So this video is really just to boast about the wonderful cover that Silje made for my book, and it's to explain a little bit about the origins of the reflections that led to this book. And just to underline that, I'd like to read the first poem in that series, Poems and Sonnets for the End of Modernity. It comes in 12 pages into the poetry collection, and it's in the section Confinement. The poem's called Fallow number 1, and it starts with this epigraph from Clive Hamilton, who's a sociologist who wrote alongside author Richard Dennis, who wrote the book Affluenza, When Too Much Is Never Enough, and it's a response to a culture of consumerism. He wrote this: "The cycle of hope and disappointment lies at the heart of consumer capitalism." So this is Fallow 1. Fallow from lockdowns imposed repose, so long overdue for the depleted human soil of a system self-disposed. Ever consume or be defeated, ever post online or be deleted. Empty promises are ever repeated. A pause, a long breath, a deep shame exposed. That this system is a cannibal, feeding and feeding on the human whole, fearing that the crudeness of capital is not compatible with the human soul, using dread of invisible enemies to distract from great emergencies and the continual displacement of burnt-out refugees. More casualties of a cannibal structure whose exposed shame is this secret let loose, that the snake eating its own tail is not eternal, but a tightening noose. So as I said, that poem is the first of the series Poems and Sonnets for the End of Modernity. I also want to just take a moment at the end of this video to thank Wipf Stock for publishing this work, for working with me to get it out into the world, and I want to thank the wonderful authors and writers who've written an endorsement for it: Whitney Ross, Paul J. Pastor, Malcolm Geit, Graham McFarlane, and Landon Loftin. Thank you so much for your encouragement and reading this book before it was released and writing an endorsement. And thank you for watching this video. You can pick up a copy from Wipf Stock directly, or from Amazon and the other online retailers. But yeah, thank you so much, and pick up a copy.